And sometimes the issue is your company is going to make a decision what you're going to do or not do. So for example, one of the common questions that come to me is the property is titled in a trust, but nobody can find the trust documents. So I know you can't give a legal opinion, but what's the procedure look like in those cases? What do you see happen when there's a trust? At one time there was and I guess there's different examples, right? There's the insured transfer in a trust. That one's easy. Maybe they sold the house and put in a trust, refinanced, put in a trust. But there's the uninsured. They establish a trust, they deed it in the trust, either the attorney or the service, but there's no insurance on it. What's the process there?
Great question, Bill. So actually, the thing with an uninsured deed is really not the issue at all. What's more the issue is, do they have the trust? When the parties who put the property in their trust, when they have passed away, if they're alive, so John Doe, trustee of the Doe Family Trust, he's selling or refinancing, he doesn't even have to provide a copy of his trust. We don't even need to see a copy of it. He signs a trust cert, we're good to go. Anytime it's someone else's name, so Kevin Sayles, trustee of the Doe Family Trust, or Kevin Sayles, trustee of the 123 Main Street Trust. It's not clearly a family trust where the trustee is the owner. Anytime you're doing a transaction where that's the case, we have to see a full copy of the trust. Also, anytime the trustee has passed away, the trustee or the trustor is the person who made the trust. The trustee is the person who's in charge, he's the signer, he's your seller. Anytime that trustee or trustor has passed away, we need to see a full copy of the trust. So when someone dies and they can't find the trust, it's a great question because they essentially are dying intestate. Intestate meaning without an estate plan. It's just like someone dying without a will. You have to go, since we can't, even though the property says John Doe, trustee of the trust, when John Doe dies and no one can find the trust, it's the same as if he died with the property just in his name. You have to go to court to get, there's a couple different solutions that they have. Normally what they would do in that case is they probate, they have him designated as dying intestate because we can't find his trust. There's an order that takes the property out of the trust, puts it in his individual name, and then the probate, goes to his individual name.
So that's going to be a probate. Even though they create a trust, once you lose the documents, it's going to be probated. It's a more complicated probate in that you really have to probate plus move the property and document. There's no other claims on the property or other claims on the probate. Take the property out of the trust and then put it into the probate process to determine what to do with it.
Exactly.
Not good. Don't lose those documents.
One of the things that can help people when doing this, I deal with this a lot because I'm often dealing with someone, they've owned the property for years, maybe grandma bought it in the 40s, then mom got it in the 60s, and now son got it in the 80s, and now he's passed away. So I deal with what we call the chain of title. And the chain of title, it's like links, right? The links have to link together. So on my screen, Bill, you're top left. Next to you is me. So if you had a property and then you sell it to me, next to that I see is Eric, and then I deed it to Eric, and then after that it goes to Lewis. That's the chain of title. Bill owned it. There's a deed where he gave it to this person, and that's the chain of title. And sometimes we see a break in that chain or a problem in that chain. When there's a trust and the owner died and we can't produce the trust, that's a break in that chain because now the only way you know what's supposed to happen with a trust is by having the trust document. Without that trust document, we can't tell who's supposed to be signing, who's supposed to get the assets. We have no idea of anything because you can write anything into a trust. So that's kind of a break in that chain. And that's kind of an important concept to remember that chain always has to link up because a lot of times the issues that we have to resolve as a title company or as a real estate agent, the issues that happen on your transactions are because there's some break in that chain of title.
Yeah, and what I try to tell people is, well, think about it. If you sold the property to somebody else in the trust, there'd be title insurance, most likely. In fact, there's a title insurance that got put in the trust using the name of the decedent. Tells you they meant to, they didn't get the paperwork done properly, so the court then is going to most likely treat it like a probate and move the property back into the decedent's estate.